Okay. Last thing I want to talk about today is meeting minutes. And that's the name of the episode. Wait a minute. That's what I was talking about. I did an image that is a old school office with old school minutes. But the meeting minutes were published and they were not really anything to write home about, to be honest. There's a big problem, I think, with meeting minutes. There's two big problems. One is what I talked about on the show last week, which is like they're just late. They've been consistently late. And right here on the website, it says, minutes are posted within 30 days of approval by the council, typically a few weeks following each subsequent council meeting. So we can expect meeting minutes to be published within 60 days. And it seems like it's taken a while for some of these meeting minutes to be published. These three were published all at once in the last few days. So that's good. They don't really contain a ton of stuff that makes sense. And to be honest, I think that the quality of the meeting minutes is going down in regards to how much insights people get. I think that the really important stuff that we need to know is left off of meeting minutes. And I get that, we've been told that you can't really include everything on meeting minutes because of privileged information or NDAs or this or that. But the purpose of the meeting minutes is to communicate and keep the community in the loop, right? People building and using the network in the loop. I think that, Hedera really, the governing council has to do like some expectation management of, I think the expectation that has been set is, governing council meeting minutes are recorded on the Hashgraph and this is the benchmark for governance in Web3. This is how everything should be done. It's the ultimate transparency. And I think that we're learning more and more that it's like, not really. I think that, some folks get the sense that they include kind of what they want on the minutes. Is it transparent? We don't quite know. So, and it's slow. They're late publishing them. So I think that there should be some better expectation management from a meeting minute standpoint, not so much pressure put on them because it doesn't seem like they are the kind of North Star or, solution for Web3 governance. I think that there needs to be better transparency. And this is part of what Charles talks about in his letter. And kind of what he hammers on. So I do expect some changes. I'm hoping some changes in regards to transparency and how we find out about stuff. But yeah, meeting minutes so far. And I took a look at them. And again, there's not a whole lot going on, to be honest. But there was some stuff that was found. And I'll just kind of share a couple of those that the community shared just because this is fun. So one of them was from CoinMan. So CoinMan looked through the May 2024 meeting minutes and found this section that highlights that, quote, Professor Tom Kay and Jeremy J. from the London School of Economics demonstrated a commercialization project to run the Hedera network involving smart contracts for content licensing. Right? And then Rob Allen on the governing council at Australian Payments Plus responds, they are great guys with a great use case. So again, this is a great example of we get a peek about what's happening, but we're not really in the loop, and that's fair, but it's slow. We're just learning about what happened in May now. So cool, right? A cool little tidbit. Something else shared by the community, I kind of asked folks what they thought of the meeting minutes. This was something shared by Hederian Z, a community member and longtime listener. They point out this section, which I found especially interesting. Simon O and Kate B discussed the recruitment rewards policy that the board rolled out during the council meeting on September 13th, 2023. And a quick refresher for people. So in September, there was this program launched that was, we'll give you $50,000 if you can bring a governing council member on board, an incentive program. So for example, if you were able to take an organization, an enterprise, and onboard them into the governing council and have them approved, you'd get a $50,000 kickback. So it's a pretty standard kind of incentive program. both inside of organizations and outside of organizations to do that. It was pretty standard. But the interesting thing here is continuing, having examined the policy and its effectiveness and acknowledging the strong membership pipeline that has developed outside the policy scope, the board has recently voted to sunset the policy. Kate and Simon shared the board's approval timeline through which the policy will terminate. So you can look at this positively, right? The positive thing is, hey, this incentive program did its job. It's no longer needed. There's a healthy pipeline. The pipeline of new governing council members doesn't need to be incentivized. It's strong. Great. That's the great way to look at it. The other way to look at it in the negative sense is people didn't really participate in this incentive program. The $50,000 wasn't enough, maybe. Maybe the pipeline isn't so healthy, even though they say it is. So that's kind of two ways of looking at it. It's tough to say there's a healthy pipeline because we haven't seen, many governing council members added. So like after kind of the beginning of this year, we've actually seen, someone leave DBS Bank. So we have yet to see the strength that is this pipeline, but it is what it is. Continuing on with some of these thoughts. This was somebody sharing some thoughts on the new integrity policy. So this was a section highlighted by Brett McDowell. I'll just read this. So this was in one of the minutes. Network governance. And this also was kind of mentioned in Charles' letter, right? Brett updated the council members on Hedera's ongoing efforts to track and enforce compliance with its market integrity policy. Brett explained that the purpose of the policy is to clearly explain to covered individuals in the manner in which they are expected to avoid unfair market practices or the appearance thereof. So, don't be selling HBAR at sketchy times. Don't be pumping and dumping. Those different types of things. So this is a very interesting thing, especially on the backdrop of what's been happening in the ecosystem. Brett emphasized that compliance with the law remains Hedera's top priority and that the market integrity policy is an important tool in establishing and maintaining a culture of compliance. Brett shared that the board's working with professional advisors to formalize the process through which it evaluates and addresses reports of potential non-compliance. The board will share information about the policy and compliance efforts with the council members in an ongoing basis. So it sounds like there are changes happening from that respect as well. So something else of substance found in the meeting minutes. So someone else said, waiting for your summarized thoughts on them. I'm doing it right now. I hope you're watching live. Also, too, there was a Reddit thread published that also had a couple other thoughts on this. So, of course, someone says, I feel like only Charles is the one who will get us out of this quagmire sentiment. So I think that a lot of people are feeling that. There's a lot of pressure on Charles Atkins right now, right? The president of Hedera. There's a lot of pressure on him. I think he can take it, though, but we'll see. Continuing on. Again, talking about the recruitment rewards policy. This was also something that I think caught people's attention, which was a section in the meeting minutes. Charles noted that the market has expressed a strong appetite for AI-related use cases. Participants in this breakout session made two specific suggestions: a Hedera improvement proposal and a product idea. Charles noted that the Hedera staff has been speaking with interested users to gather feedback and assist with the development of these efforts. A formal project plan is in progress to evaluate and implement the participants' suggestions. So what could it be? I mean, what we've seen in the ecosystem so far from an AI standpoint as it pertains to Hedera is using Hashgraph as a way to provide provenance for models, right? Training, what were they trained on? What were the results? Those different types of things. And then beyond that, it'd be interesting to kind of know what they're thinking about. But sure, the criticism here is like, oh, great, another company pivoting to AI, another buzzword, whatever. My thought is like, I do think that there's something to this. It's just, again, really no detail given in the meeting minutes. It just, we kind of know that this is out there now. So we'll kind of just have to see, to be honest. And yeah, I think that there was, sentiment as well that before the meeting minutes were published that, oh, the reason that they're delayed is because there's some big bombshell in the meeting minutes, or there's some big news, or a governing council member got added or something. But it turns out that, there's not a whole lot in these meeting minutes. I'm sorry to say to people, it's, 3 months of meeting minutes, and that those are kind of the highlights. There's not a whole lot else. So yeah, not anything interesting. And so it, I guess where my brain goes is kind of like, what is the purpose of the meeting minutes? What does the future look like for them as Hedera changes as an organization? Will there be new ways in which Hedera communicates updates to the ecosystem? Charles mentioned in the coming weeks, he's going to be starting the president's blog and doing more Twitter Spaces and LinkedIn Lives and stuff. So there's something. Are they going to change the process and how they do the meeting minutes? Are they going to change the process and how they hold the meetings? Change is needed. This isn't good enough, but I do think that, the governing council hears us loud and clear in a lot of ways. And it's really just up to the council to, make those changes and adapt. And it'll be interesting to see what that is. But yeah, definitely this whole meeting minutes process last quarter, is just not the best. Doesn't speak highly of the promise of transparent governance for Hedera. This is not, I don't think Hedera is meeting the standard in which they set. So it's time to manage those expectations, make some changes,